Hello and welcome to this video on Kohlberg's stages of moral development for the juvenile justice course. By now you should have done the discussion post on the Heinz dilemma. Lawrence Kohlberg developed the Heinz dilemma as a way of assessing where someone might be in the stages of moral development. If you'll notice by the screen, there are 3 levels with 2 stages in each level. That leaves 6 stages. Now, I want to point out that stage 1 is in the pre-conventional level, and it's acting to avoid punishment. In more than one of your classes, you should have learned about Cesare Beccaria and classical criminology, deterrence theory, that if we write our laws so much that people will believe that they're going to get caught, certainly, that the punishment is going to be swift, and that the punishment is enough beyond the pleasure of the crime that it makes them believe that crime doesn't pay or that the crime isn't worth it in their mind. In other words, the pleasure they get from the crime isn't worth the pain that they get from the punishment. That they will avoid punishment. We can deter them from this behavior because they're going to want to avoid punishment. See, this is a problem with Kohlberg. Not with Kohlberg, with Beccaria. When we put Kohlberg and Beccaria together, it looks like Beccaria is advocating for a very morally immature value system. The reality is that most of us don't commit crimes, at least those of us who are adults, and I would venture to say even older juveniles, we don't commit crimes because it goes against our personal values. In other words, we wouldn't like ourselves. We're not avoiding punishment from others. We have a value system that says you don't harm other people, so we're not going to do this. That's one of the limits of Beccaria's work. Okay, so stage 1, acting to avoid punishment, acting to further one's own self-interests. Okay, these are in the younger ages. As we reach into our later adolescence, we will start to enter stage 5. Most of us will. They say that very few people reach stage 6, like Mother Teresa, Dr. Martin Luther King, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Mahatma Gandhi, which is the self-selection of universal moral principles, or the universal moral principles mindset. I believe more people reach that level than what Kohlberg believed. But the idea in stage 6 is that sometimes we are willing to suffer punishment to do the right thing. We know this is true of Dr. King. We know this is true of Mahatma Gandhi. We know this is true of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Mother Teresa did not have to suffer the same fate that the other 3 had to suffer. But Dr. King was assassinated ultimately. He was imprisoned a lot. He was surveilled by the FBI. Mahatma Gandhi was imprisoned a lot, and he was eventually assassinated as well. Dietrich Bonhoeffer had his churches closed down. He went underground with his churches. He was then placed in concentration camps, and then he was assassinated, hung at the personal order of Heinrich Himmler, because all 3 of these individuals died after serving time in and out of prison simply for doing the right things. There are people that reach that level. Mother Teresa, to my knowledge, never had to face a situation like that. That doesn't mean that she didn't reach this level. It just meant that there weren't situations in which she was placed, where she had to be to put herself in harm's way. But the idea is that sometimes we do the right thing even when it's going to cost us. It might cost us a job. We might get reprimanded on our job for doing the right thing. But this tends to happen in adulthood. But we can actually start to see it happen in later adolescence and even in the college years. But Kohlberg did have age ranges for these. The pre-conventional is birth to really preschool, and then stage 3 is going into school and into middle school. Stage 4 is, and then stage 5 is more adolescence and early adulthood, and then stage 6 is when someone is firmly in adulthood. So now you can go look up things about Kohlberg on the internet, but it's important to understand Kohlberg's stages. I'm going to stop the share and just remind you how important it is to understand all about moral reasoning and understanding where it is in relationship to a juvenile who might have committed delinquent acts. Now, your midterm had to do with the case study. So I'm going to ask you now to consider, did Mary Jane, I believe that's the name that I gave her, but did that teenage girl, was she not in stage 6, even with her reasoning as to why she murdered her brother in the case vignette? Think about that. Could she have been in stage 6? Just want you to think about that. And we'll see you next video.